I think that Antarctica is a refreshing place. It's a hopeful place. So therefore, when you first go there and you come from a world which sadly we're not looking after very well, and you see the only place in the world that we all own, the place that is truly a wilderness, and we haven't exploited it, mined it, put roads all over it, you come away and you just have this feeling that there is hope. So when I came away from Antarctica, I just was overpowered by its beauty, felt totally hopeful, because, you know, our world is quite gloomy and negative. You know, most media stories, most things you see on television, listen on the radio, see in the newspapers, they are quite negative. So Antarctica is a place full of hope, which shows that, you know, we can look after our world, and that's what I came away with. I believe that, you know, what you need to be inspiring is a good story. And I don't like the word motivational ever, because I think who am I to motivate somebody? But hopefully, you know, we have, not me, not Rob Swan, but, you know, my son Barney, you know, the wonderful and amazing Jason. You know, we all have a fantastic story to tell because we're privileged to go to Antarctica. So when you come back, it is not only an important thing to do, but it's a duty to do it. You know, if you go to a place like that, that you respect the place, try to do your best to preserve it, then you must come back and inspire and educate, especially young people, that, you know, we can make a difference. You know, so many people in the world today feel that you know, they're not stupid. People realize that climate is changing, weather patterns are changing, you know, that we're using too many resources. Everybody knows it, but they feel that they can't do anything about it. And I think our message is always, you can do something about things. And if you have an idea, it's possible to push that idea forward, and not just for yourself, but for your team, for your country, for your community, you know, and for the planet. Yeah, and especially to Barney's age group, you know, which is a key age group. You know, Jason, myself, our age group, you know, 40s, 50s, you know, we've got to keep trying. You know, we're not at the start of our lives. We're not at the start of our careers. And what Barney does so well, and all the young people that come on the expedition, is to say, look, we've got to be hopeful for his generation, because so many young people just switch off. And I don't blame them. If you had, you know, all this input of negative and the world's going to end and everything's gloomy, and, you know, young people, you know, what role models do they have today? Well, not many. So somebody like Barney, his job is very modestly to say, hey, you can make a difference and you can lead your life better. And if a young person leads their life better and they care, they're thinking about their impact on energy, they're maybe buying a solar panel, they're saving water, they're doing all those small things, then that will have a huge impact, because other young people will say, hey, that's cool, that's a good way to live your life, I'm going to do it. It's not some kind of penance or some sort of, oh, well, you know, let's go and hug a tree and, you know, you all got to be green. Young people don't like that. What they like to do is to feel they can make a difference, and they don't listen to people of my age, but they will listen to people of their own age. So, you know, Barney, again, is very lucky. You know, he's been, you know, training with the best person. You know, Jason is our finest Antarctic guide. He's such a credit to the United States and such a credit to your community down in Auburn. He's just a fantastic guy. And Barney's been so lucky to be able to work with Jason for the last 2 weeks, learning, getting some skills, and preparing himself to come down and be a support to Jason in the Antarctic. I think that, it was politics is a tough game, and it's a very tough game in America because it seems that people, are like school children, to be respectful a bit to them, that, one person says yes and the other person says no, simply to say yes and no. And what I've seen is that Obama, I'm very glad personally he got in for the environment, because he now has a chance. Because maybe for the last 4 years, he was worried about being re-elected, worried about all kinds of things. And I think he's, his slogan at the beginning changed when he first became president. Now maybe he can create some change. And I think that it's so important in the United States that people listen to what he and, leaders on the environment are talking about. Because, just look at the weather patterns. Ask anybody who just got dumped on in, the north east of America with the unprecedented snowfall, Hurricane Sandy. Just look at every single part of the weather system. Watch the Weather Channel, and they'll tell you that, we've broken just about every weather record on Earth in the last 10 years, since 1889. I was in San Francisco last week. It's the driest it's ever been in January since records began. So I think people have got to listen to that leadership. They've got to support that leadership. But at the same time, they can't just sit back and say, oh, well, the government's doing it. It's got to be we do it. And what's important in the United States of America, is that, gasoline is still too cheap. And people aren't really going to change, and they're a bit comfortable about that. A gallon of petrol in London, my home city, is $8.50. So people actually have to think before, they're using that vital energy. So I think, yes, I'm pleased that President Obama is doing his stuff. I have a great deal of respect for him, and people need to support him, not politically on this issue. They need to support him for survival on this issue. And the United States of America, as Jason shows leadership on our expedition, the United States of America has to show more global leadership on the issue of sustainability.